Tapping in as well.
Over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
Time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
It's likely that one big shot's going to land if the guy's not throwing other shots. So I thought with less artillery in the air, less bombs in the air, that the guy would have a chance to get.
Joe Rogan reacted to Jake Paul's knockout loss by laughing with Anthony Joshua and saying the fight was never competitive from the start. He explained that Jake usually faces MMA fighters or older names, not a true Olympic-level heavyweight. Rogan stressed that Joshua is elite and far above Jake's weight class. From a pure boxing view, he said the ending matched expectations long before the first punch was thrown.
Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists.
After the bout, Anthony Joshua made a strong statement, saying the knockout actually spared Jake Paul. He claimed that if the fight had continued, the damage would have been far worse both physically and mentally. Joshua felt the quick ending stopped unnecessary punishment inside the ring.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct...
Whenever Anthony Joshua is linked to a matchup with Jake Paul, boxing opinions immediately split. The difference in size, skill, and background leads many to see it as a show rather than a real contest. Joshua's Olympic gold and championship history contrast sharply with Jake's learning stage. After the knockout, Simon Jordan blasted the event, calling it harmful to boxing's credibility.
Because straight after the fight, I heard the question being posed to Joshua, will he now fight Fury? And then my first thought was, after what I've seen, who cares? After that, who cares if Joshua fights Fury? I like Anthony Joshua immensely, Spencer. Any exchanges I've had with him, I think he comes across terrifically well. But I fail to see where it's taken us, where it's taken him, other than hugely increasing his bank balance. You know, I really fail to see what this has done.
Well, it's done nothing, but he was going to fight in November, like I said, and he's just gone in there against Jake Paul. What has it done for his legacy? Absolutely zero. But it was, you know, he's earned a lot of money doing that. And he's going to go again and he's going to fight possibly February, March. And then there's that Tyson Fury fight that's looming that could happen in September, whether Tyson Fury decides to come out of retirement or not come out of retirement. For Anthony Joshua, he's earned a hell of a lot of money. This is prize fighting, and that's what it's all about. That's what
Jordan argued that these kinds of fights confuse entertainment with real sport and weaken true competition. He said Joshua has already achieved wealth and legacy and does not need novelty matchups. Jordan added that even without a Tyson Fury fight, Joshua walking away from boxing would not be surprising.
More than Joshua. That apart, Spencer, 6 rounds to get Paul out of there. Reputationally, how does it leave AJ?
Well, thankfully, it didn't go to points because I think that would have been a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think that he needed to get the job done inside the distance, you know, and he done it. Look, he could have done it at any given point. I think that he could have cut the ring off whenever he wanted to and got Jake Paul out of there. He took his time on that. He allowed Jake Paul to run around like a rabbit and throw the occasional shot from time to time. And I think he only landed one clean punch, didn't he, Anthony Joshua? And that was the one that broke his jaw in 2 places.
But, I mean, you said, did you not, to us in this very studio the other day, he's got to get him out of there in round 1.
I did.
Otherwise, what are we seeing?
Exactly that. You know, and I think what we saw there was a little bit of entertainment. And that was pretty much it. But not entertainment that many people enjoyed, if I'm honest. I think that people wanted to see.
Joe Rogan also praised Anthony Joshua's speed, athleticism, and knockout power. He said Joshua can end fights instantly and moves faster than most heavyweights. Rogan highlighted how quickly Joshua closes distance and finishes exchanges. In his view, this makes it unrealistic for crossover fighters to challenge him seriously.
But this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
Here's
terrifying.
the thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch.
Adam Booth gave a balanced analysis, pointing out that Jake Paul did make Joshua miss at certain moments. He said Jake's movement and positioning forced Joshua to reset instead of attacking freely. Booth clarified this did not mean Jake was winning, but it showed improvement. He praised Jake's calm under pressure, while noting Joshua's class and power ultimately decided the outcome.
Joshua and Jake Paul shared a ring. Your takeaways from the 6 rounds that we saw, presuming you watched?
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a 2-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
I know everyone will come with the idea that, AJ should just go in there 1 round and smash him to bits, and that should be it. It was a big ring, right? Perhaps he could have cut the ring off a bit better, but would I be right in saying that regardless of skill level, if you forget about that with the 2 for a second, if someone is on the back foot and on their bike and doing what Jake was doing, it's difficult, no matter who you are, no matter the kind of separation in skill level.
It's a big ring, and you've either got to run at him and look like a novice yourself, or just take your time.
Discussion then shifted to Logan Paul, who appeared to challenge Anthony Joshua and hinted at revenge for his brother. Reports suggested interest in a possible fight, but commentators quickly dismissed the idea. They noted that Jake at least trains seriously with boxing coaches, while Logan does not. Most agreed a Logan versus Joshua fight would be completely uncompetitive and damaging to boxing's image.
Would be more of a mismatch than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Because at least Jake Paul has taken boxing, or has trained with real boxing trainers in real boxes. Whereas Logan Paul, he did that exhibition with Floyd, and Floyd's a little guy. Not saying a little guy can't thump, because Floyd really gave him some 2 pieces with no sides, right? But at the same time, you take his friend, Floyd's friend, Anthony Joshua, and get hit by him and see what happens. The same thing. Probably worse, because I think Logan, he's a little taller than Jake. And because he's a little taller than Jake, he may think he's a little stronger than Jake, which I don't know which one's true or not. I don't think it makes a difference. But because he may feel that way, he may want to go in there and try to bang it out with AJ. And if that happens, it's going to be a lot quicker. See, that 6 rounds it took AJ to finally catch Jake, it took that way because Jake was on that bicycle, moving, being elusive, trying to come in and then come out. He tried to do a very poor man's Alexander Usyk, right? And it didn't work for him. Logan ain't going to do that. Logan's going to come in throwing punches and bunches like he did with Floyd, trying to get him in there and, do all this stuff. And what's going to happen as soon as AJ lines him up, sets his punch, he's going to hit Jake and he's going to break Jake.
Sagashan Molly focused on Jake Paul's mindset before the fight, saying his confidence and trash talk were misunderstood. He explained that Jake needed that mental approach to face a 2-time Olympic champion. According to Molly, belief is essential when facing extreme odds. He said Jake's mindset showed respect for the challenge, even though the loss was clear.
Jake was shooting double legs, too.
Shooting double legs, nice
duck
ones
unders.
with ankle picks, duck unders.
But dude, God, people are. I see so much people talking shit on the fight. Which, dude, what the fuck did they expect? Like Jake was hyping himself up, saying he's gonna win. Dude, that's self belief. He needed that to go in. He needed that to get himself into the ring. You know what I'm saying? He just needed that.
What do you think about the sticking the tongue out?
Dude, he's a showman. This is a fucking YouTuber that switched to pro boxing.
Yep.
And he's fighting Anthony fucking Joshua. He made $90 million. $7.5 million per minute. Nate Diaz says, that boy don't work hard enough. This girl in the UFC said, Jake Paul shot more double legs in boxing match than I did in my UFC career. Ryan Garcia said, he's a runner. He's a track star. Aljamain said, this is a clown show. Josh Hammond said, dude, it's like, what did they expect? They expect him to go in there and look like a clean fucking Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao. Two of the, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
You see the aftermath, like his jaw and everything? Fuck.
Jake Paul's broken jaw. Jake has to get wired shut for 7 days or something like that.
Yeah, like
Tim had to do
plates.
7 weeks.
Yeah, Tim says that was the worst thing he's ever gone through.
7 weeks. Tim broke his jaw in Montana. Tried to go to the hospital. Hospital said the surgeon's out of town. So now he has to. So he's fucking goes like a week without even getting surgery. At least Jake was able to probably get it like next day, that same day. But it's like all the people hating on Jake. It's crazy. Connor said Jake is stupid and will be altered permanently from this bout. I look at it. It's inspiring seeing what he does because I know how much like he's putting in work. He's doing legitimate fight camps. He's doing sparring. He's doing rounds. He's eating. He's doing everything.
Teddy Atlas explained his prediction of a longer fight was based on real boxing factors. He pointed to Joshua's long break, past knockout loss, and early caution. Atlas said shaking off mental doubt takes time, especially for slower starters. He added that the larger ring helped Jake move early, but pressure, fatigue, and elite intensity eventually overwhelmed him.
I wasn't sure if there was going to be a silent agreement. I wasn't sure there was going to be a sparring match agreement that will spar for a while. I wasn't sure. I was honest about it. That's why he said it's going to go rounds. I wasn't sure if there was an understanding that, we'll play a little bit and then we'll get a little more and, whatever. So that was part of it. But there was real parts. Say, that's the fixed part. That's the WWE part. That's where the people, and I'm with you. I get it if you want to think that. Here's why I picked rounds, and this is what I think I saw, and I know that in my mind I saw, was the fact is that a lot of people didn't think about. 15 months off. And there was going to be some ruts. There was going to be some hesitation. There was going to be some time. He got knocked out by Dubois freaking 15 months ago. There were going to be ghosts in the attic. I don't care who you're fighting. You get in the ring again. It's going to take a minute to exercise those ghosts. The rust. You want to call it rust, whatever. It's going to take 5-6 rounds to get rid of the rust. But it's going to, the doubt, the self-doubt, the being in the ring for the first time with nothing in between after being knocked out. That was going to be a play. And then the size of the ring, 22 by 20. It's usually 20 to 20 is pretty usually around average. And it's 22 by 20. More room to elude, more room to move around, right? I thought maybe...
Pauli Malignaggi and Chris Algieri gave a blunt critique of Jake Paul's performance. They said that despite serious injuries, Jake earned little respect from boxing fans. Chris argued Jake should have attacked and truly tried to win, even if it led to a faster knockout. Pauli added that constant movement drains energy and only delays defeat, saying a fighter cannot run and fight at the same time.
Yeah, Ngannou, he's got balls. Ngannou's got balls, man. He went out there and he tried to fight, tried to win. Jake Paul didn't try to win at any point during the fight. He was just trying to survive. I think that's actually ultimately going to hurt him with boxing fans.
What do you think, Paulie? I mean, you talked about the in and out kind of style, kind of hits and runs, and you said that A, it runs out your legs. He was exhausted a couple rounds into the fight, and B, it only saved him for so long.
He doesn't have the boxing skills to box on the move anyway. Once I saw the big ring, I knew he was going to run for his life. When you're that much of a novice, which obviously it's not even an insult to him, it's just lack of experience. But when you're that much of a novice, you either know how to run for your life or fight all out. You don't have that in between yet. You haven't developed enough of that in between boxing acumen to really pull that off. And so what ends up happening? You're either going to fight your ass off and you'll last a minute. Chris, you're being generous. Round 2, he would have got knocked out in round 1 if he would have fought. But at least he would have fought. He would have got the respect of the people and more importantly, the boxing community instead of these clowns that follow him and are still defending him. You know, now what happens is you didn't get any respect as a fighter. You didn't get any respect as a fighter because you didn't try to fight at all. If he would have, I was watching that through 2-3 rounds. I'm thinking to myself, this guy would do this for 8 rounds if he can. If he can do this for 8 rounds, absolutely not fight at all, absolutely not engage a single time in 8 rounds, he will actually do this. And he'll do it shamelessly. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The shamelessness of his approach to the fight. You're gonna be a fighter, then don't make an ass out of the whole sport, out of the whole business, and out of yourself first and foremost. Because in the end, what happens? You got his jaw broke anyway. So what ends up happening? What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get hurt? You're going to get knocked out? You got hurt and you got knocked out anyway. But you just prolonged the inevitable, and you got no respect out of it now. Because nobody's respecting that kind of performance. Nobody's respecting a performance where you would totally content to steal money.
In the end, the result felt unavoidable. A mismatch on paper played out exactly the same in the ring. Anthony Joshua's power, speed, and experience made the difference. Jake Paul showed effort, improvement, and heart, but not enough to reach elite heavyweight level. The aftermath showed divided opinions, but the boxing reality remained clear. Class, experience, and power decide fights.